Welcome to our new podcast, and today we have Mila. She's a property expert in Dubai. She's now living here nearly 2 years, and she works for the biggest real estate company in Dubai, Firm Properties, with nearly 800 employees. So welcome, Mila. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited, actually. When you invited me out to come and do the show, I thought, what better person to do it with? So I'm really excited.
Thank you. Let's get to the topic. So, Mila, first of all, just let us know who you are, where you come from, how long been here. Of course, 2 years, which I just mentioned, and just give us some insights.
Yeah. Well, my name is Mila. I've actually been in the real estate market this is my 2nd year now. I come from a banking background, so I was doing finance for about 8 years. So it's kind of, because I was doing mortgage lending. So now it's on the other end of the property purchase journey of a client. It wasn't something that I was expecting to do coming out here, but I am really happy and really excited to share with you guys my knowledge that I've got. Yeah, so pretty much just moved out here abroad on my own. It was a sudden decision that I made. It's actually really funny how it all happened. I'll tell you guys about that later on. But honestly, it's the best leap of faith that I decided to take. And I encourage anyone who is, who has that desire to do something really big in their lives to actually take that on.
Very cool. Thank you, Mila. And where especially did you come from in Australia? And do you still have the family in Australia, or did they move with you here?
No, so I come from Sydney, so the best city in Australia, in my opinion.
It is, I've been there
Not
before.
being biased. But no, we have the best beaches, so I have to say that. I came here on my own. My family is all still living in Australia, so it is a little bit bittersweet, but they all support me, and they're all very happy with my decision. So yeah, hopefully I can travel back every year just to see them, because traveling back is quite a distance away. So
yeah, I know that from Germany you fly a complete day.
Yeah.
And you have to switch over in Singapore.
Yeah.
And did you ever get homesick of being in Dubai, or the first time when you come here where you're like feeling you've never been anywhere else?
Honestly, when I first came here, I had no homesick feeling. Like, it took me about a year into being in Dubai before I actually started to get really homesick. And the main reason for that is because you're on such a thrill, you've got such a rush that you don't have time to feel homesick. You're constantly busy, you're constantly meeting new people, and you're surrounded around people who are experiencing the exact same thing. So about a year before I missed family, sorry to say.
But you're still in Dubai, so why didn't you go back? If you say after 1 year you got homesick, what made you stay in Dubai?
Honestly, I was considering it. I was considering going back home. It was December, so it was recent actually, that I was kind of contemplating. I still had my job in Australia, so I was on like long service leave, and I had that kind of to fall back on if I felt like things weren't going right in Dubai. So I honestly think that you've got to be smart about your decision. When you make the move, you need something to fall back on just in case. Don't just make a decision based off, short-term, emotions. So I did have something to go back to, but it's kind of a positive and a negative in a way, because at the back of your mind, you've got something to go back to, which is not ideal. You don't want to keep on looking back, So yeah, I made that decision. I went back home in December to see my family. My brother had a baby, and it was the first baby in the family. So when I went back, I just felt like I was missing out on so much. And, we're a very, very tight, close family. And to see, you know, the baby being born and him growing up and me missing out on all those like little steps, you know, I felt like it was just hitting hard for me. And I'm a very, very big family person. So, yeah, I went back to Australia. I took my 1 month off and I was like, okay, I think I'm done. I think I'm ready to go back to Dubai. And I booked my ticket back home and eventually made it back out. I think my family were also expecting me to stay in Australia. But yeah.
Okay, but you still stayed here. So, and you also told me you were a Muslim. So, very interesting. Thing is, I'm from Germany, from Europe, and a lot of people in different countries, they always have, like, say, a bad impression about this community. Yeah, but once you do come here, it's the peace. Yeah. It's harmony. So, but you're from Australia. What nationality are you? What's your background?
So I'm Iraqi, so both my parents are Iraqi. I was born in Yemen, so I'm a little bit of a cocktail. I was born in Yemen and then we migrated over to Australia back in 2000. So that's a very big piece of my life. But I grew up in a very westernized culture. You know, I grew up in the countryside, and that was tough in itself because you're surrounded around a lot of people who just see a woman of color, you know. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it was very easy for other kids to pick out because you are kind of different to everyone else. But this is speaking, you know, many years ago. When we moved out of the countryside into the city, it was a lot easier because, you know, we were surrounded around people that, you know, were Muslim as well, who had very similar upbringings and very similar cultures. So it was a lot easier to relate to those kinds of people growing up. But yeah, like moving to Dubai, I feel like it's just enhanced the faith that I've had. I've always been a woman of faith, but I think coming to Dubai has just made it so much more easier because it's so much more accepted here. Mm. Yeah. And, you know, I practice a lot now because, you know, without having family around, it is something that you always look back to all the time, you know. Who do you seek? When you've got pretty much no one, you go back to your God, you know. So for me, that's very, very important faith. Yeah.
Very interesting topic. We get a lot of clients asking to also come to Dubai, and they're also Muslims, because they say they can't live freely in Australia. They're changing the system, also the schooling and stuff for the kids. They don't want the kids to grow up. So I've been there, I think it was 10 years ago or 15 years ago. It was as a backpacker, a few months. And I like the country, but of course you don't see deep in the insides of how the environment is, economy. But it was still interesting. And most people is a dream to move to Australia, of course, to live there. But when you hear these stories of the people, when they're calling and say, I want to move to Dubai, I've been here one day, I'm a Muslim, and I can live my life, a free life in Dubai. It's just interesting. So how is that the background in Australia? Can you be yourself?
Yeah, really, it depends on where you are. I mean, Sydney in particular is very divided into like subcultures. So every area that you have, you've got, you know, you've got the Christians, you've got the Muslims, you've got the Anglicans. So it's very, very divided over there. Whereas when you come to Dubai, it's very, very multicultural. You know, you see a different range of, you know, people living in many different areas, whether or not you're in downtown Dubai or in the marina or in Dubai Hills. It's just super, super mixed, which is nice because you feel so much more comfortable. And no one's really paying attention to the way you dress or the way you look. It's such an accepting country, and that's something that I really, really love. And this is why I do encourage a lot of people to move here. Australia is beautiful, and I'm not going to take that away from the country because I love Australia in itself, you know. And one day I do see myself, you know, moving back eventually. But like the demographic here is changing a lot. So, and Dubai has a very, very big growth, you know, a very big change happening. We've got a lot of foreigners coming to Dubai.
Very interesting. Yeah, I can. It's the truth, actually.
Yeah.
I've now been here 5 years. I met my wife here. She's Moroccan. I converted also to Islam. So it's an interesting part. I was living in Morocco for 6 months,
Yeah.
you know. So I can tell you honestly, if I wouldn't live in Dubai, I would live somewhere else, but not in Europe. I would live in Morocco.
Yeah.
Because I just like this mentality, and everything is moving fast forward, you know. You meet different kind of people, you can grow, and especially nothing about Europe or Germany. We have probably one of the best countries in the world, but there's no growth, you know.
Yeah.
Personally, you can't grow. You have safety, you have money, you don't have to do anything in the end, but it's not the life you choose, because when you come to Dubai, you see a different life, what you can achieve in life, and that's, I think, why people are moving. That's why probably also you're staying here.
Yeah.
As you just mentioned, and you feel home.
Yeah,
that's the main thing. It's
this
safe.
Is very right.
Whether you can become something. That's 100%. As you know, in the real estate company, give us some insights in your job. What do you do there? I heard you're like one of the best real estate agents in your company. I think it's true. Yeah.
Well, I try. Look, to give you an insight into the real estate world, it is a very, very interesting market here in Dubai. Like when you're comparing Australia's market to Dubai's market, you're looking at very, very different scales, you know. I honestly see Dubai real estate as a big game. Like it's like a big game that people work in. It's just so fast paced, it moves very quickly. So transactions are happening as we're speaking, you know. There's so much supply on the market at the moment, so many new developments, you know, so much growth. And, you know, at the moment, Dubai is sitting at around here when it comes to investing, whereas the UK and Australia, like in terms of price points, we're still sitting at pretty much a very like low scale. You know, we have a big gap to fill before we hit Australia and the UK. These markets, Australia and the UK, are quite expensive at this rate. And the reason for that is because there's not as much supply on the market, you know? Whereas here, there's so many investors coming in, which is a good and a bad thing, because you get a lot of, for example, the influx of, you know, the Russian investors when the war broke out. A lot of the Russians were investing and injecting their funds into Dubai, which essentially kind of brought the price points quite high. So that's one big thing. Also, Dubai is a very cash-based country, you know? So it's a lot easier for things to be processed and moved along.
Yeah, it's easy to, or you buy property, you can buy it in cash.
Yes.
The transactions are quick.
Yeah.
That's why people are buying a lot of properties. And they are seeing that they can't use the money in the other countries.
Yeah,
everything
that's
is
right.
it's not safe there. They can't pay cash. In Germany, you can't buy anything in the electric market anymore. So it's a reason behind that. There's so many people, and like, as you mentioned, the growth is just in the middle, and where London, New York, or Los Angeles are still there. But it's a long time that Dubai will reach that, of course. But then they can overtake these cities.
And this is a very big opportunity that we see for clients. You know, when we talk about investing in Dubai and why we should bring, you know, your funds from overseas, or if you're living here and you're renting and you want to invest and you have the capacity to invest, do it, because, you know, there's so much room for growth. There's so much, you know, there's so many different types of developments and price ranges that you can invest in, you know, low, medium and high scale. So it's very, very diverse.
Yeah, very cool insight, Mila. Thank you for that. And that was part 1. And on part 2, we will discuss further her journey and going deeper into the real estate market and also what her future plans are in Dubai. So stay tuned for this one.